on this installment of a peek into the pages of the selection of a sacred strawberry. We have Blue Dendrobium by Sohini Roy. Roy is an undergraduate student at Calcutta University who aspires to become a successful illustrator, something that would hold both her art and her words. She wishes to work in the fields of comics and graphic novels. It's her dream to see people choosing the brown pages of an old book rather than the over-brightened screens of fancy gadgets. 4:30 a.m. Arya leaned on the kitchen counter, her eyes looking somewhere in the direction of the lonely Mina sitting at her kitchen window. The tea has been oversteeped. It's bitter now. Not a great start to the day. Not a great day either. The past couple of months have been so exhausting. It seems like she's aged more than she should have. And today, her face was the shade of winter fog. Her senses were sensing, but her brain was refusing to acknowledge them. Haze had wrapped her up in its translucent sorcery. Arya casually picked up her phone and opened the last chat. It was from her. The day has finally come. When she had received the text, she'd read and reread it a few times before replying. She couldn't wrap her head around the set of information and expectation that was being thrown at her that night. Her reply had also been too less for words weighing that heavy. A simple, okay. It cannot go on like this. Arya threw the last quarter of the bitter tea into the dry sink next to her and left the empty cup on the counter unwashed. Putting on her running shoes, a black hoodie, and a black mask, she went out for her morning stroll. It was less of a stroll and more like she was desperately trying to run away from something, some grief that her soul was silently mourning behind the hood and mask, even though her brain refused to accept it. The vegetation around was as wet as Arya's eyes, the dew on the grass dampening the end of her joggers near her ankle. When she could no longer keep the mask on, she tore it away from her face and sat by the little lake. She'd mindlessly run all through the park and reached the clearing where the lake was, occasionally spotted by a few visitors. If you've enjoyed this peek into the pages of the selection of a sacred strawberry, the book is available on Amazon.